If you are thinking about moving to Corrales, we want to talk about the pros and cons of living in Corrales in this video. We'll go through the good, the bad, the ugly, everything to consider. And I think it's important that we have Andy in this video. He is a former Corrales resident. And would it be safe to say that you regret moving out of Corrales?
Completely. And I would also say there's no bad or ugly when you talk about
No
Corrales.
bad or ugly at all.
No, not
Oh,
at
wow.
all.
Well, I've got a couple things that I'd like to
Yeah.
retort back. No, Corrales, beautiful place along the Rio Grande River Valley, just on the west side, which is a bit different than Los Ranchos, which is on the east side. And so it's a different feeling in Corrales than Los Ranchos, which I think a lot of people compare in terms of lifestyle, being close to the river, cottonwood trees. And one thing that Corrales does have an advantage on Los Ranchos is the area of Corrales that's away from the green belt in the Bosque that has views. And
Yes.
that is, I think it's a special thing to have views and then be 2, 3 minutes away from everything along Corrales Road,
Right.
art stores, restaurants, farms,
The one
wineries.
the one thing that I'll mention that really sets Corrales apart from Los Ranchos is by population, there are more horses than people in Corrales.
Mm.
So that alone makes it a very unique, special place.
Is that a fact?
It is.
More horses than humans.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So if you're leaving the house to run down to the store, wherever you're going, it's very likely you're going to see horseback or carriages going down the ditches along the,
Sure.
Loma Larga or down Corrales Road. There's a lot of horse crossing um, spots within the village. And so it has a very unique quality in that regard.
Yeah, I love that. Well, that just, if there was a way to sum up Corrales, I think that fact alone probably does it best.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain type of feeling or vibe about the area, and horses, nature, cottonwood trees, all of that really sums it up. And I think one thing I'd like to talk about a little bit is the acequia system and the opportunity to have water from the Rio Grande River irrigate your fields.
Yes.
If you have wine or alfalfa or apples, I think there's real value in water in the desert, and being that close to water and having the acequia system, irrigation wells, and Corrales. And that's an important difference between Corrales and Los Ranchos. Los Ranchos, most properties are on city water, city sewer, and then if you're lucky, you have an irrigation well. Corrales, it's all private well, private septic. So it leads into a lifestyle of, if you want to be completely off grid, if you have solar panels, you have your own sewer, your own septic slash sewer, your own private well. You can be completely off grid, not relying on the government, not relying on the state or anybody to make sure that your house is still
Exactly.
going.
Being completely unfamiliar with Corrales as a area and very familiar with Albuquerque and of course Santa Fe, I had to really first I had to discover it because it's probably the best kept secret in New Mexico, I think. And then back to what you were just talking about, the water situation, you really have to understand how the irrigation works. And obviously, you see the acequias, you see the ditches, that kind of makes sense to the layman.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see a giant field just completely flooded with water, you don't quite understand what that's about. And it's kind of counterintuitive, but that's how they water their crops. They literally flood the land where you see inches of water over acres. And I find that very interesting. And of course, it all changes from the Bosque to Corrales Road, which is the Bosque, from Corrales Road to Loma Larga, which is the green belt. And then uh, uh, west of Loma Larga, then that would be the desert. You don't have any ditches or sickios. There's no river water that's used to irrigate that part of Corrales.
And the trade off with that part of Corrales, as I touched on earlier, is the view.
Yes.
Stunning views, usually, or sometimes I should say, of the Rio Grande River Valley, Sandia Casino, Pueblo Land, and then the Sandia
Right,
Mountains.
because it's quite a bit more elevated on the desert side.
Correct.
Yeah.
And one thing to note about the acequias, they make for the best walking, running paths.
Yes.
Horse, everyone uses those paths to exercise and be out in nature. And when we were training for our marathon, we would always go down into Corrales and just run through the acequia system because you get to look at these beautiful houses, it's farmland, you're under the trees. It makes running a little bit easier, which is a horrible experience if you're ever considering running a marathon. Please don't do it. It is horrible.
And I will also mention regarding Corrales. I have a very good friend who was born and raised in Albuquerque. Never mentioned Corrales to me in all the times I came to visit in Albuquerque. And so some of the things that I might mention to someone from this area, it's commonplace, it's known. But for me, it's not. And so when I circled back with my friend and said, why didn't you tell me about Corrales? He really didn't think it was any big deal. And it was a huge deal to me because it's such a unique community that I haven't been in a community like this anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And to your point there, and this is something you've mentioned before, but I think a lot of people, especially that live in Santa Fe or visit Santa Fe, they'll fly into the Sunport, drive up, and there's never any knowledge or recognition of Corrales on the way up.
No.
It's just this hidden little village on the other side of the river. Right. And if those people just took a 30-minute drive down Paseo, down Alameda into Corrales, and followed that through Bernalillo and then back on the interstate, I think it would change their perspective on what it's like to live in Albuquerque. Because I do think a lot of times in Santa Fe, Albuquerque gets a bad rep. But then if you say, well, I live in Corrales, or I live in Los Ranchos, or I live in Sandia Heights or High Desert, they go, oh,
right,
that's different.
That's different.
I would live there. That's beautiful. And so let's talk a little bit about commute.
Yes.
Driving across the Rio Grande River. So that's another difference, I would say. And, I know I started off jokingly with the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
For me as a realtor, and I know a number of realtors who do live in Corrales, but crossing that river to the west side of Albuquerque does add time to your commute. A lot of the people that are living in Rio Rancho, Ventana Ranch, sometimes they will go down Paseo or Alameda, and that will add 10 to 15 minutes to your commute into Corrales. Right. And then if you live on the far north end of Corrales, going down Corrales Road or Loma Larga, be careful that you go the speed limit because there's always police officers out there.
Right. Well, that makes it great.
Of course. As a resident of Corrales, you love that.
Yes.
As a visitor of Corrales, I just want to zoom through there.
Right.
But it's good to take your time and slow down, and I agree. But my point here is commute times are a little bit longer than Los Ranchos, and you can take that as a negative or a positive. I know some people that live in Corrales, and they love that extra few minutes of just, before I get into the city, I can kind of wind through the roads of Corrales and warm up to what's ahead. Who can name the most restaurants in Corrales?
Well, you probably can because you eat more than me.
Hey. I do eat more than you, that's for sure.
Well, I do, going back.
You used to live there?
Yes, but I have my favorites, and I don't stray too far away from that.
Well, I like winning, so let's play.
Okay. Well, I know you do, so you'll win. I'll let you win because I know you love winning.
I'm going to take all of yours too, but I'll let you start.
Well, my favorite is the Indigo Crow, of course.
Oh, great choice.
Yeah.
I'll do Hannah and Nate's.
Yeah, I like Hannah and Nate's. I mean, of course, it's a different vibe. If you want breakfast or a lunch, it's great. You can sit outside if you like. But if you want the glass of wine or something light.
The happy hour on Indigo Crow's patio is the best. Great food, great atmosphere.
Under the cottonwoods, yes, for sure. And, of course, it's not really Corrales proper, but it's on the edge of Corrales, and it's our mutual favorite.
I'll let this slide. You can say that.
Thai Kitchen.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Flying Star.
Oh, no. Well, Flying Star, you can get in any part of town, but it's still
Thai
good.
Kitchen is great.
And it's kind of bizarre that a Thai restaurant in Corrales or on the edge of Corrales, I can say I've eaten a lot of Thai all over the world, and it's really the best I've ever had.
Yeah. What was the saloon that you were mentioning the other day, Sandia? There's like a new build.
Oh, yeah. They spent several years remodeling it
Yeah.
and bringing it back to its original glory. It's the Sandia Bar, and that kind of sounds very bar-ish, but it really is a place to meet people. They have food trucks out front generally in the afternoon and evening. They've just spared no expense, multi-level decks, tiers, patios.
Hmm.
It's really a lovely venue and equal to and a little bit different than Ex Novo,
Hmm.
which is more kind of like a,
It's a brewery.
yeah, brewery.
But
Yeah.
it's a small brewery and really meant to sit on the patio. And then
Yeah.
they have food trucks and they have that little park right across the way that set out a little picnic blanket and chairs and just enjoy being
Yeah.
outside and the kids can run around. Okay, so we should talk a little bit. We talked about commute. Weather is similar to most of Albuquerque, but you're kind of protected by the cottonwoods. Up on the desert side, you do get a little bit more wind, a little bit more heat.
Mhm.
So I was talking about the acequias and the ability to use their water. That leads into kind of the lot sizes that are typical in
Yeah.
Corrales, which is an acre per house. Usually there are some areas that are a little bit smaller. And the house, I would say architecture in general leans more Pueblo style, sprawling estates down along in the Greenbelt and the Bosque, and then up in the view area, desert area, still Pueblo style, but more blending in with the sand feeling in that area in terms
Yes.
of
Yes.
color. And so, if you could talk a little bit about just the average home in Corrales, and yeah,
Well, if you just looked at the broad average, it's generally about 800,000 average sales price, about just under $300 a foot, and right under 3,000 square feet. Obviously, there are much larger homes than that and much smaller homes.
of
Depends
course.
on if it's a legacy property or something that's newer construction. They did go through some growing pains a few years back where they voted on whether or not they would allow these larger tracts of land be cut up by the builders and put
Hmm.
these big McMansions. And also the short-term rentals, they voted on that.
Casitas they
Yeah,
voted on as
yeah.
well.
And so they've been able to successfully maintain the charm of Corrales without the negative parts of development coming in and
Hmm.
trying to really maximize the land because the land is expensive in Corrales.
Hmm.
Um, but the average days on market is about 50 days plus, but it really depends on whether you're and
Hmm.
the easiest way to define it is the bosque, the greenbelt, or the desert. Of course, there's beautiful homes on the desert side, but just generally, the land is quite a bit more expensive, more value in the dirt on the bosque side, and then a little bit less, but still more value on the greenbelt side
Hmm.
versus the desert side.
Yep.
And each has their pros and cons. And if you're really wanting to capitalize on view, you want to be in the desert side
Hmm.
because then you get the beautiful unobstructed view of the Sandias. And of course, as someone that's not from New Mexico, I did not know that the Spaniards named the Sandias for the fact that when the sun sets, they turn the color of a watermelon.
Hmm.
And the average person
Beautiful.
from out of state might not know that, and I think it's kind of a clever thing.
Yeah. I also think you just get a little bit more for your money on the desert side. So that
Yes.
if your, budget is a little bit tighter, that's a great area to consider and a soft entry into Corrales living.
Some people might think that on the desert side, you can't get the lush green landscapes just with a well water irrigation, which is completely untrue. You can, it's just a matter of how much you want to work at your landscape. The water is plentiful generally, and a lot of people let their desert lots go desert, as they call it,
Hmm.
so they don't have to have a lot of cost with the landscaping and water management and things like that. Because as you know, when you're on a drip system or a sprinkler system, it's
Hmm.
really constant tweaking. And being in the desert, you can lose vegetation very quickly if you didn't notice a certain drip line wasn't functioning correctly for a week or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Along with living in Corrales and housing, and we've talked a little bit about some of the restrictions that they voted on recently. And so that's something to consider is they do everything they can to leave you alone in Corrales, but there are restrictions, there are covenants when
Yes.
building, there are covenants with adding a casita, short-term rentals. And so it's not a completely the village will be in your life to some extent. And so if you want to be completely disconnected and out there on your own, it's maybe not the best place, but they do such a great job of balancing those two. And it's always a delicate balance of how can I have as much freedom as possible, but also I want to make sure that my neighbor is not a hoarder or building this huge
Right.
4-story property that's ruining my view. Like there's a lot of things that I think it helps continue to keep the values and the quality of life in Corrales high.
Yeah, there's a lot that's been grandfathered in. So sometimes you can drive through Corrales and have a perception that they have no controls,
Agreed.
but they do. And they want anything new to be conforming to fit the architecture of the community to maintain the charm of Corrales. Now, when you cross over Loma Larga into the desert side where you see a lot of HOAs, you might have additional restrictions within the HOA.
Yep.
Like, for example, no chickens or whatever, which is kind of crazy because everyone has chickens in Corrales.
So when I think of Corrales, if I could sum it up, and I think we've done a good job so far, but I think of a quality life, a lifestyle where you have a view or you have this green belt feeling, this bosque feeling amongst the acequias and the cottonwoods. And that quality of life, I think, is rare anywhere in the United States to have that and then have the access to get into Rio Rancho and get to Target or Costco in Albuquerque, Trader Joe's, Sprouts.
See, that's how he got me on Rio Rancho. He went right over to Rio Rancho.
All of that is 5-10 minutes away. You're so close to groceries, to a shopping mall.
Yes, the shopping is fantastic.
You are in such an excellent location with this high quality of life, low light pollution, low noise pollution. All of that bleeds into an incredible lifestyle.
You can see the stars in Corrales. It really is a community that has almost been untouched by time.
Yep.
And it's such a unique little community that it's a shame that more people don't explore it on their way to Santa Fe or on their way to another destination in New Mexico.
It is worth stopping in.
Yeah.
And be careful because you may fall in love and it may be the place that you want to be in the future. So for my elder statesman,
always with the age,
Andy Slow,
thank
you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
I'm Joshua Goss, owner, qualifying broker here at Tradition, 25 years of experience.
And happy birthday, by the way.
I don't know if it's happy anymore when you're over a certain age.
Oh my God.
It's just a birthday.
He has no idea.
The 2- and 8-year-old, those birthdays are fun.
Okay, yeah.
My birthdays, I have to just show up and work with this guy, which is
it's miserable.
Always fun. Well, thank you so much for watching, liking and subscribing. If you know someone that is moving to Corrales or thinking about moving to New Mexico, if you know someone that owns a home in Corrales and is thinking about selling, give us a call. You can text or email. Our information should be on the screen. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you on the next video.
I never told my goat story.
Oh, well, you better hurry up.
Can we squeeze it in somehow? Re-edit it in?
Yeah, it's just more work for Santi, but I know you like your homework.
Okay.
So.
Well, you have to give me an entree into. Don't you have a goat story or something like that? You have to
when I think of a goat, I think of Lionel Messi. He's the greatest soccer player of all time.
Okay, there you go. Well, my goat's not that. It's a real goat.
Oh, a real goat.
So if you want a horse, a goat, any kind of farm animal, chickens, Corrales is your place. And I had to immediately go out and get 2 goats. Of course, I had to give them up for adoption because they were.
And you built a barn, right?
I built a barn, and the goats were.
At your age, you built a barn?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I had to prove to myself that I could do it. And the goats were so cute when I got them, but they became unruly. But anyway, while I was still commuting between Dallas and Corrales, I get a call from Animal Control downtown. I call it downtown Corrales. The village of Corrales calls me from Animal Control and says, "Sir, I think we have your goats." And I'm like, "How do you know they're my goats?" "Oh, we were on Facebook and one of your neighbors said, those are Andy Slow's goats." And I'm like,
did you brand them?
I didn't. I had no marking on them whatsoever.
Wow, that's a good neighbor.
And I said, "Well, where did you find them?" And And they said, oh, they were running down Loma Larga. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be back in town in 2 days. Do you mind holding them for me? And oh, very nice. Oh, sure, no problem, sir. We'll hang on to the goats. They'll be fine. Just come on by animal control in the village when you get home. So I said, thank you so much, and disconnected the line. And about 30 minutes later, it's ringing again. I'm like, oh, this can't be good. And I'm like, hello, animal control again. And they said, oh, we're sorry, sir. We forgot to ask you, do your goats have a special diet? I'm like, no, just feed them whatever you want.
We should have started with that story because that actually sums up Corrales. So
that is Corrales. That
your
is
goats have a special
Corrales.
diet.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
That is Corrales.
We should throw that in the beginning of the video.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
special diet.
Yeah.
Did they?
No, of course not. They'll eat anything, really.
Yeah.
And of course, then I pull up in my BMW and open the back hatch because I had no goat hauler, right? And they had to get up in the back of the BMW, and I just had a 10-minute drive to the house. I hope they wouldn't poop everywhere.
I thought it on maybe TikTok or Instagram a couple years ago. There was a guy that was going viral for in New Mexico, and I think he was from the village. He had like a pack of goats, maybe.
And yeah, they go and cut grass and stuff.
Yeah, they go clear all the weeds out.
Exactly.
Cut the grass. Whatever you need, he'll bring his. You say a flock or a herd?
I think it's a herd of goats. In fact, the guy that when I found in Rio Rancho, actually, he had a whole herd, a menagerie of sorts, and he would take them to parties, or if you needed a field cleared, he would load them up in his trailer. And my two goats had been banded, strapped, neutered, and however the term with the goat is different. And so one, as they grew up, grew bigger horns and was more ornery. And I never really noticed. I couldn't tell the difference between the two of them. And so when I took him over to the guy, well, I called him first. He said, sure, I'll take him. And a lovely home. I went out there, had this great spread. I was, it's going to be a happy place for them.
Yeah.
And I dropped him.
Goat heaven.
Goat heaven. And so, well, not literally, but maybe eventually. But I had him in my trailer. I was pulling a trailer. And I dropped him, and he took the goats, and everything was fine. And again, 30 minutes later, the phone's ringing. Hello, I'm like, what's the problem? He goes, oh, yeah. The one was not fully neutered. He still has one nut. Babies. He has one nut. And that's why he's so aggressive. And I don't really want him. And I'm like, well, I can't take him back because I don't know the end story to that. But anyway. That was the explanation for why one of them was so aggressive still. And they headbutted me. Oh, yeah. When they were little babies, I went down to go, oh, hey, little sweetheart. Anyway, boom, right there.
Boom.
Yeah. You got to be careful with livestock.